fans calling out Triple G, which is a good thing.
It is a good thing, and even at that fight, which I was lucky enough to attend in New York, I thought he won that fight clearly. He dropped Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs made a good showing for himself. But like we mentioned earlier, that's what happens with elite fighters, and we have two, not only elite fighters, but the two best middleweights in the world going up against each other with Canelo and Triple G. And for a second time, too, here's Steven Zozobra Palenko, which says Canelo by KO.
So if you're a hardcore fan of either Golovkin or Canelo, it's not enough to say, my guy's gonna win. You have to say, my guy's gonna knock him out. That's how strongly you feel about it. That's how passionate you are.
Statement too. Yes, Francisco Herrera once said.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. It really isn't. But realistically, I see another hotly contested 12-round battle, but more entertaining.
I do think it's going to be a more entertaining fight. Both fighters like to stand their ground and exchange in very smart exchanges. They're not out there just throwing punches to throw it and letting leather fly. And
you're doing good. As soon as always sharp.
started camp really early. Some really tough sparring partners they brought in. The camp was a closed camp. There's Eddie Reynoso Jr. doing some more new school methods with the pool noodles.
Yeah. But the pool noodles are good for a boxer like Canelo because his game is all about slip and counter. And he prides himself on his head and his upper body movement. So the noodles, they encourage movement. They encourage bobbing and weaving and stepping over to the side. And that's exactly what Canelo needs against Golovkin. And I like that you see the big thighs, the big legs. He was born with those. That's where his power comes from. That's where the physical strength and the leverage comes from. He prides himself on his head and his upper body movement. So the noodles, they encourage movement. They encourage bobbing and weaving and stepping over to the side. And that's exactly what Canelo needs against Golovkin. And I like that you see the big thighs, the big legs. He was born with those. That's where his power comes from. That's where the physical strength and the leverage comes from. But I like he was born with those. That's where his power comes from. That's where the physical strength and the leverage comes from. But I like that his upper body is more trimmed down for this fight than it was for the first one and against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
And you just saw a little flash of combos. Those hands are looking really, really fast.
I think speed and fluidity is more important for Canelo than power.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think that's very smart of his camp to train for that. Those strong legs, too, also big reason his defense is so good with the bobbing and weaving. He's able to do it for a full 12. And now the power. Some of the same big hooks, same double hooks and right hands that Triple G was showing, Canelo showing equally.
And so he's going to need a perfect blend of these two boxing styles to defeat Triple G.
And that's
meaning, like, I'm not saying he switches from finesse to power. I mean, the finesse and the power have to come together as one, like James Toney.
Retirement party for Triple G. Ricardo Cadena Mata says hashtag Team Canelo. So we're hearing from a lot of the Canelo fans. I'm curious to see what the poll's at right now. We had it 67%.
I bet it even up, which is, I think the official odds by fight week, I think they're going to be even.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo becomes a slight favorite by Friday or Saturday morning.
What was it for
late
the
money?
Fight, Doug?
I think it was slightly for like 8-5 for Triple G.
The first fight. Yeah, it was very close. Canelo really getting in a workout as opposed to the other fighters, and him being the A side here. He's taking full advantage of the time in the ring and putting in some real work. He did about 2-3 rounds. Straight there.
Now, he's not breathing heavy, is he?
No, no.
All right.
You never see him out of shape.
That's a good sign.
You know, like I said, he's a great champion. He continues to work hard. He embraces the responsibility. He's a young guy who's responsible. You never hear stories of him with Ricardo Cadena Mata says hashtag Team Canelo. So we're hearing from a lot of the Canelo fans. I'm curious to see what the poll's at right now. We had it 67%.
I bet it evens up, which is, I think the official odds by fight week, I think they're going to be even.
Yeah, I'm curious to see.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Canelo becomes a slight favorite by Friday or Saturday morning.
What was it
for the
late
late money
fight, Doug?
I think it was slightly for like 8-5 for Triple G.
Triple G the first fight. Yeah, it was very close. Canelo really getting in a workout as opposed to the other fighters, and him being the A side here, he's taking full advantage of.
Stood and traded with the smaller Kell Brook or the lighter punching Willie Monroe Jr. Against a guy who's as strong and accurate as Canelo and as quick as Canelo is. This kind of power display will cause Triple G to take a back step.
I think
but whenever Triple G takes a back step, he comes right back with that jab, with power.
He was taking some monster shots that kept fights. You know, you don't necessarily have to be incredibly flashy to be effective, and I think Triple G is one of those guys that just sort of does everything right, and he looks fundamental in there, but man, it's coming with such power and precision that it just works.
Marvin Hagler was no different.
Exactly, another good, great example right there. Now, but to your credit, Julio Cesar, I believe, was the guy who made that last comment. Canelo does seem to look a little more fluid in there and faster. He is at his peak physically right now, in his prime. I forget his age is how old, Doug?
He just turned 28.
28. Now that is your peak man strength.
Absolutely.
Right there. So he is at his full man strength. So young, he's already had such a great